Season 3 for Warzone is here, but there's still a lot up on deck coming as of soon. We might not know exactly when some of these items are coming, but Amos Hodge over at Raven ended up detailing a little bit of information here in relation to some things you may be interested in the near future of Warzone. Today, we're going to break down these big changes and additions coming within Warzone and let you know everything you need to. So as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. What is one thing that you hope to see coming here, either that be additions or changes within Warzone? Let me know what that is down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so I'm a single thing regarding all things Warzone, updates, additions, best classes, all that good stuff. If you're interested in joining the community, I'd love to have you. And finally, a big thank you to Z-League for sponsoring this video. More on them in just a little bit. But that said, let's jump into it. So the information that we're going to be discussing here in this video came from a pre-briefing for the new Warzone map this time last week. Myself and a bunch of other creators and media and press were invited to a Zoom call here with Raven, Treyarch, and Activision representatives to talk about all the things that were coming within Season 3 throughout Black Ops Cold War and Warzone. Got that first look at what was coming here as of the update that is now live and that you see currently playable in-game. But after the initial showcase and pitch of that content coming to Season 3, Raven and Treyarch fielded questions from the digital audience over that Zoom call in which they provided some clarity on a nice number of things that we can see coming in the near future. So to start, I want to mention one that I'm personally most excited for, that being Zombies Camos. So as we talked about here plenty of times over the last couple of weeks or months maybe even, Zombies Camos have been a hot topic of discussion since the integration of Black Ops Cold War all the way back in December, because we saw DM Ultra was introduced here with Gold, Diamond, and then also that DM Ultra Mastery camo for Cold War weaponry, but noticeably Zombies Camos were not a part of that integration, with at the time a blog post mentioning that they were working on it and they'd be coming sometime soon, but I'm pretty sure that blog post has actually been scrubbed or edited because I can no longer find that mention of it, but I have that vivid, distinct memory of it actually being written out. But regardless, Zombies Camos have been there since the integration as something players have wanted and definitely look to be coming for. But as of this pre-Season 3 briefing, Amos Hodge, creative director over at Raven, said it's something they're working on and that their goal is to be one-to-one on cosmetics and that they'll get there. When expanded upon a little further later on in the discussion, it seemed like it was kind of down to the details of meshing, as in some of those weapon camo canvases didn't act accordingly as to how it should be when taking a look at how they worked within Black Ops Cold War. So seemingly they're aware of it, they're fixing that issue, and then after that it should be ready. So fingers crossed, while there is no timetable, that this should be something that we at least see sometime soon, that it seems to be still on that forefront of development and hopefully within Season 3. If I were to take an aggressive guess, I'd say maybe the mid-Season 3 update would be the earliest we see this, since that seems to be the next timetable for a new title update in Warzone. But other than that, there is no definitive answer, unfortunately, other than they're working on it and soon. Another big thing that was mentioned here in sort of that cosmetics and trying to be one-to-one with Black Ops Cold War and Treyarch's introductions as well come down to the blueprint customs and thus the ability to save blueprints within Warzone. This is something that is absolutely huge and I really do hope comes in a more fuller nature, not only within Treyarch's Black Ops Cold War, but also within Warzone. We saw that blueprints custom introduced as of a couple of weeks ago within Cold War, in which you can end up taking that ability to take multiple blueprints, put them all together, and kind of make a Frankenstein version of your weapon with different portions of blueprints, all within the same weapon selection, but you can make a crazy build out of it. That's something that Amos Hodge mentioned was coming to Warzone, but again, was just kind of down to that oddity in terms of timing and working it out between weapon engines. But when it also comes down to it, that should hopefully then provide the ability to save blueprints within Warzone as well, which is a huge thing that is just a small quality of life change that makes a world of a difference if you ask me. Whenever I end up going in and swapping out weapons within classes, which I do quite a lot, because even with 10 class selections within Warzone, I still find myself needing more space, so I'll swap out a weapon here and there almost daily. But whenever I end up going to do this, it takes about a minute to remember the builds I'm trying to craft in particular, or I just want to double check so that I have the right barrel or the right grip or something like that available on that weapon. But if I had that option to select a previously saved build of that, it would just cut down, in the grand scheme of things, minimal timing, but it would make it such an easier approach to creating that class that you want, which is something that I am incredibly hopeful for that comes very soon. Again, no ETA definitively on this, but soon. Another thing that was brought up here that is absolutely a big topic of discussion here is that of the FOV slider being investigated within Warzone. But before we jump into that, I want to take a second to let you guys know about today's sponsor of Z-League. So here's the thing, you probably see all this marketing for big pro player tournaments like the Atlanta FaZe, Toronto Ultra, London Royal Ravens, Warzone tournaments that have prize pools of crazy amounts of money like $100,000. That's a lot of cash, but see, players like you and I, not only one of those exclusive invites somehow miss our inboxes, but also I fully recognize that I'm nowhere near good enough to win those. But that's where Z-League comes in, because if you want a chance to win some money and prizes, and play against players more likely to be around your skill level, that's where they excel. Z-League is a new platform that takes competition to a new level. It's a skill-based platform that keeps the competition reasonable, being built on the principle that everyone deserves a shot at some prize money. Z-League had a former Google engineer build an algorithm that uses your Warzone stats to rank teams into divisions so that you're only competing against players of similar skill caliber. Scoring for tournaments works similar to how the bigger ones do, so it seems familiar in that regard. Kills and placements determining point totals, and what's nice is that you don't have to be live streaming or anything like that, or even submit screenshots to an admin, because they have a live scoring webpage that tracks your team's stats in real time. So whether you're on PC or a console player, the stage is set for an easy to use competitive platform. Currently, Z-League is hosting paid and free entry tournaments, so if you're passionate about Warzone and you want to experience the thrill of competing, make sure you check out Z-League by clicking the link in the description below and registering for some upcoming tournaments. Thanks again to Z-League for sponsoring the video. But anyways, talking about an FOV slider. This has been something that players have wanted, well, since Warzone was introduced, and we saw that disparity here between console and PC players. We're going to have a video later on in the week detailing a little bit more about this, not only FOV, but also some of those discrepancies between gameplay experiences, because it is rather big in terms of that divide, but an FOV slider is probably one of the biggest things that is of that discrepancy, where you look at something on console, but if you look at that same exact point on PC, a player could have a much wider field of view and thus see a lot more than you do on console. So it's been something that has been mentioned for quite some time, and when asked directly about this, Amos Hodge, creative director at Raven, once again ended up saying that they've heard the fans' calls for an FOV slider and are actively looking at its implementation for consoles in the future, but he never ended up providing any time frame here, stating that they cannot share any timeline at the point. So probably early on still in the implementation factor of it, and it's also probably worth noting this may be something that is only available on next generation consoles. FOV has been something that players have wanted for a long time overall in Call of Duty on console, but as described previously as being hardware limitations that set it back here on console implementation, we only just recently saw the implementation of an FOV slider in Black Ops Cold War because the game was primarily built for next generation consoles. So while an FOV slider may be coming, maybe not necessarily immediately on that horizon, but sometime in the near future, it is important to note it may be in a limited capacity. Other changes coming here still in the near future is that of some further weapon tuning. My guess the earliest we see another round of weapon tuning is that of the mid-season update. Right now, I'm going to be honest with you, I think that we have a decent meta, if you want to call it that even, because there are 10 to 15 weapons that are viable, that are very good and can hold their own before you really start to see any major drop-off in terms of one-to-one gunplay. So I'm happy with where we are here at this, but they're going to be further tuning the weapons a little further, with the biggest one that they have their eye on and that has already been mentioned publicly is that of the CR56 AMAX. That's on the chopping block, but they're also seemingly being a little bit more hands-on when it comes to adjustments and tuning, hopefully. So maybe we won't see that 2-month span of 2 to 3 weapons reigning supreme anymore within Warzone, but we'll have to wait and see. That was something that was mentioned officially within the patch notes as well, and also within this pre-briefing, talking a little further about how they're going to keep more eyes on it. The final thing we'll talk about doesn't come from this pre-briefing, but instead comes from an interview with VentureBeast done to interview Activision's president Rob Kostic about the topic of anti-cheat and the cheating problem within Warzone as it stands right now. The basic thing that comes out of this here is that they reiterate some of the talking points that we had as of already about how there's a dedicated security team that's in place, but as always when we talk about cheating and the cheater problem within Warzone, that sort of stuff is reactionary. That's a reactive approach to it, in which you have people report players and then they get banned without actually tackling the problem head on. We have seen that there has been attempts in the past to issue cease and desist as well as other lawsuits to the cheat creators, but that still seems to be breeding a problem no less, where these still persist, as you've probably seen over the last couple of months. But Rob Kostic ended up saying they will do a better job communicating with the community very frequently on this kind of stuff, and that they're investing more resources there to make sure we provide the best possible experience for our fans. So while words are just words, I'm very excited to see what the future may hold here if they are actually investing further into better anti-cheat methods. Again, whether that be something that is proactive and then will stop cheats as soon as they're detected, or if it's something that tries to go for the source a little further, we don't know, but hopefully something better comes here in the future. That said, that is where we're at here at this. That is some big changes coming to Warzone in terms of new content additions, some fundamental basic changes, and some new features that look to be introduced here in the near future. So that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. I would love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What are you guys looking forward to the most here out of these changes? Or is there something you're hoping comes to the game that we didn't quite mention in this video? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts down below. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so I'm a single thing regarding all things Warzone and what the future may hold here. So if you guys want to stay up to date with everything, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Probably live on both those. If you guys want to strike a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.